I will be talking in slightly hushed tones this video because, as you may have noticed, there is a sleeping baby on my chest, which is madness. It's madness that one day she was not here and then now she is here. It's crazy. And she is amazing. She is the best thing. I think for all of the difficulties that having a newborn brings, it's still the best thing ever. So one of the things that I did when I was pregnant, and partly because I was encouraged to do so by the hypnobirthing course that I did, which I will link below in case anyone is interested, is to digest as many positive birth stories as possible. And I found that I was a little bit fussy, I guess, about what I considered a positive birth story, because for me a positive birth story was only one that was easy and simple. That's not necessarily how these things work. What makes it positive is your attitude towards it, and I learned that quite a big way. So I'm going to talk you through my positive birth story. I really do think it was positive. I'm really proud of it. It was something I would do again. I think I could go as far as to say that I enjoyed it, even though there were some twists and turns in the tale, which I will unfold for you now. Oh my darling, you okay? She can breathe, by the way. I just want to point that out. Oh, as I say that, she's moved her head into a place where her airways are no longer clear. But I'm just going to hold this. There we go. Okay. So, it's Thursday morning, 5 a.m. I think I've weed myself, but maybe my waters have gone. Who knows? I'm nearly 40 weeks, so it could be anything. But I have an appointment with the midwife at 2. So I think, let's not make a fuss, because I don't make fusses. It turns out, spoiler alert, I should have made a little bit of a fuss, but we can't change the past. I also start having some weird little visual disturbances where, you know, like the peripherals of my eyes are starting to go a bit blurry, and at one point it felt like this eye was just wandering over in this direction even though I was trying to look straight ahead. Little things like that. Little causes for concern. Little causes for concern that if you are pregnant and you have little causes for concern, just be concerned. It's absolutely fine. I don't know why I decided not to be. Anyway, I had my midwife appointment. She was concerned about the fact that I had weed myself / my waters. It was the tiniest little bit of liquid, barely anything. But she took my blood pressure. She also, interestingly, she tested my urine for preeclampsia, for proteins in it, and it came back clear. So she sent me to the hospital mainly because of my blood pressure, but also because of potential wee / waters breaking that I'd had at 5 a.m. And when I got to the hospital, this is when everything starts to kick off. My pregnancy was textbook, flawless. I was generally fine throughout. Obviously sickness, fatigue, all of these classics, but you know, medically, just a pregnant woman, nothing too untoward going on there. I arrive at the hospital. Turns out my waters had gone, and turns out that I have preeclampsia, which, because of my insistence to have such a positive experience of birth, which, you know, is admirable and should be the case, I had deliberately withdrawn from looking into any risks. And I kind of stand by that, because I think I probably would have been more frightened if I hadn't. But it did mean that I didn't really know much about preeclampsia. The main thing that I had going around my head was, completely uninvited, I might add, one of my students came into the lesson. I was pregnant, that's why he felt the need to bring up, and declared to the class that his mother nearly died having him because she had preeclampsia. That sentence was just rolling around my brain, and I was concerned. So I was diagnosed with preeclampsia. I was told that I was going to be induced that night. I guess did I panic? Giles and I panic in very measured and composed ways, so I think it was just that, like, we were panicking, but we know there's no point in, you know, screaming and shouting. I was doing the thing where I was like looking at the doctor with a completely straight face, going like, yeah, okay, yeah, right, I see. While tears were forcing their way out of my eyes without my permission. That's what it felt like. So a cannula put in the back of my hand, which I know is no big deal, really, but it was my least favorite part of the whole labor, which is why I bring it up. Which is pretty good going, I think. Also, just so you know that I know, and so that I know that I've covered it in this video, this isn't how you're meant to hold your baby when in a sling. You're meant to be able to see their face, and I currently can't see her face, but I know that she is. It's poking out here. I'm keeping an eye on her, and I can also hear her, so don't worry. So I'm in the hospital, I've got my cannula. I hate it. I get taken to a room, and I say to Charles, please don't show them my birth preferences sheet, because it felt like a joke. At that point, I was so far removed from what I wanted, because I wanted it to be like a completely unmedicated, natural water birth. The full cliche, all of those things, ticking all those boxes. And I knew I was going to be induced, which I really didn't want, because one of the main things I had learned from the hypnobirthing course was that all complications basically stem from induction, and in my mind induction was like the worst thing that could happen. So trying to be positive under those circumstances was a little trying. You okay? Good. But I had to put my birth preferences sheet in with my medical notes, so they did see it, and they were really great. The staff were amazing, and they brought through a projector, so we had like the night sky projected on the ceiling, and we brought in these little like battery operated tea lights, so Charles put them around the room, and we just tried to make the vibe as nice as possible. Also, sorry if the swaying is distracting, but it's just to keep her happy. She likes the movement. So they put now it's not called a patisserie, but the word that's come to my head is patisserie. I'll put the name of what it is on the screen now. But it's like a jelly thing that they like insert into you, and it is meant to start labour / prepare the cervix, I think. And I think that took about 6 hours or something. I ended up having to go on the drip anyway, which started contractions. And this is the bit that I find interesting, because I felt like I should be prepared for the mental toil that are contractions, and I was also at the same time very aware that I might be wrong. I could very well be wrong. Anyway, I'm so proud of my labour story, because I feel like pregnancy, and even before that, just generally how I approach life. I mean, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know that I'm a big fan of philosophy. I love Stoicism. So I had gathered sort of lots of different coping mechanisms, maybe you could call them. I hadn't actively chosen what I was going to use. The hypnobirthing course that I did encouraged affirmations, and I don't find affirmations helpful. They feel a bit cheap when I try and do them. And I find for me personally, there's just more effective ways of dealing with life, I guess. So I started having contractions about 1 a.m. and they were growing in intensity, but they were also really close together, and that was what I was struggling with. Obviously it was an induced labour, so they could control the amount of whatever the thing they were putting in the drip was, but it felt like in between the contractions I hardly had any time to recover. That was the main issue that I had with the contractions. Yes, they hurt, but it's a completely different kind of pain. It's not at all sharp, or it doesn't really feel like pain. It was more like an agonizing kind of like pulling, but it did not ever border on anything that didn't feel manageable. And as I said, the biggest issue for me was just the lack of time to actually recover in between contractions. So I ended up having a paracetamol and a codeine, and that was all I had. And I'm very proud of that. I was also, I'm just getting boastful at this point, but I was also referred to as the polite one, because someone was talking to me while I was in the middle of contraction, and I managed to get out, "I'll be with you in a moment," because I couldn't answer the question there and then because I was focusing on my breathing. I get the impression that that's maybe not a common thing. So again, very proud. I don't mean to just sit here and show off, but I want people to know, so I'm telling you. So in terms of strategies, focusing on my breathing, I was doing like the hypnobirthing techniques of in for 4, out for 8, just really focusing on that. I had this weird thing where my left leg was flailing about, my right leg, Charles was massaging. I was sort of doing these weird things with my hands as well. I don't know what I was doing, but just going into a place where your body knows what's happening and you just trust your body, I think is really important, even in an induction, which is, I think, is what I didn't realize would happen. I thought in an induction, it would be completely down to, you know, the chemicals and the midwives and being told what to do, but your body's still very much present. So I'd spent all this time kind of gathering different strategies for how I might deal with the pain of labor. And the ones that came out to me, there's 2 main ones that stuck in my head when I was going through it. So the main one was a Stoic concept, and it was about challenging your impressions. So interesting, I had been reading Epictetus before, probably about a week before I went into labour, and he's big on challenging impressions. So there are things that we generally deem to be good or bad or preferred or unpreferred. If we change our definition of what bad or good is, we can see things more clearly for what they are. And in this particular instance, it was the pain that I was experiencing. It was like, I know that this is an unpreferred. I'm not challenging the fact that it would be lovely not to be feeling this, But if I can try not to see this as a bad thing, then it's going to make it much more easy to endure. And that was definitely the case. It's something that was touched upon in the hypnobirthing course as well, which was try and see the experience of this pain as something that is going to get you closer to meeting your baby, closer to it being over, closer to having like achieved the goal of giving birth. But just reframing it and challenging the idea of what is bad. Is this really bad, or is this just neutral? Is this just a thing to accept? And I think once you can accept and stop fighting the unpreferred things in your life, you can better deal with them. And the other thing, which is touched upon in the hypnobirthing course, in terms of your whole labour, the painful bits make up such a small portion of it. So the idea is that really you're only enduring this for a very short amount of time. And for some reason, instead of just thinking of that as a concept, there's a bit in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which is one of my favourite shows. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It's really good. Where she sings a song called 10 Seconds at a Time. And the idea is that you can endure anything for 10 seconds at a time. And once the 10 seconds are over and you've done it, you've completed it, you just start the next 10 seconds over again. And I had the song 10 Seconds at a Time stuck in my head because I was just thinking, you know, that's right. It seems so, obviously it's part of a comedy show, it's meant to be slightly ludicrous, but it is completely accurate. And also just, I find in modern day life, we very rarely just sit and feel our feelings. We want to escape from them. And when you have something as acute as labour contractions, you've got no choice but to actually spend some time sitting with it. So being able to appreciate the idea of being present in that feeling, however unpleasant, is going to be helpful as well. So yeah, I wasn't able to have the water birth that I wanted because I had to be monitored and she had to be monitored throughout. Also, she was a surprise. We didn't know, we hadn't chosen to find out the sex. So yeah, we have a little girl, which is lovely. She's so amazing. When she was born, which by the way was the most surreal thing, because it happens like an explosion. It's the weirdest thing. You push and you push and you push, and then once that head goes, you just feel, it's just the weirdest feeling. It's the weirdest feeling, the bit where the baby actually comes out. And I'm so pleased that I was present to be able to remember it and to be there for it, because, you know, if you, and again, I say this about any judgment at all, and no, there's no judgment, but there are pain relief methods where you wouldn't be able to be, you know, present for that, whether that's mentally present or, you know, you literally can't feel it. And I'm really pleased that I was able to be there and to remember it, and yeah, I'm just very, very grateful. I had to stay in for quite a while because of the preeclampsia and because my blood pressure wasn't sorting itself out, but I think we were in for about five or 6 days, and then we got to go home, which was very, okay, I know I'm overusing this word, but it was so surreal, like so strange. I genuinely feel like my time in the hospital was like the most bizarre holiday, like with the best leaving gift. Just lovely people, and we had our own room, we had a little ensuite bathroom. Charles was able to stay, he was great, we had great support, and yeah, I just think that even though it started off in a way where we could easily be incredibly concerned and in a way that would derail the rest of the proceedings, we didn't let that happen. We had a good attitude throughout, and I credit it to those two concepts, the idea of challenging your impressions and 10 seconds at a time, a song from The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. In terms of what it's been like since, the most challenging bit really has been feeding. They think it could either be my preeclampsia, it could be the medication I was on for the preeclampsia, or it could be any manner of things. You know, it could be COVID, it could be me, it could just be a normal thing. I know a lot of women experience a similar thing, but yeah, my milk's not been doing what it's meant to do, so we've had to do top-ups, which I really didn't want to do. But again, it's, you just have to roll with the punches kind of thing. You don't know what it's going to be like, but you do know what you're going to be like, and you can have faith in your ability to deal with things. And I think that's the most important thing through all of this. It's you and your baby working together, and you have the support of your little one that knows how to be born, and your little one has the support of you who knows that you can get through this, even when it feels like you cannot. You can do it. I wasn't really a big fan of this particular concept when I was pregnant, but you are designed to give birth, and you can do it. You have to have faith in the thing that's bigger than you, whether that's your ancestry or God or just the bits of you that you haven't accessed yet because of your life. You're shaped by your experiences, so what about the experiences that you have just not had? What potential is there within you that you just haven't had you haven't had the right ingredients to make that particular cake yet? What is that cake? What potential do you have? And I think being able to give birth is one of the best ways to see what your potential is, and you'll probably be pleasantly surprised. So yeah, I think my birth story is very, very positive. I had a lovely time, but when you hear words like preeclampsia and tearing and or even hospital, I suppose, because I didn't really want a hospital birth either. It's very easy to form these idealized views of what you want your birth to be like, and especially when you're encouraged to write birth plans and birth preferences, which are good. They are good things to do. It's good to have an idea of what it is that you'd like to happen, but you must be able to roll with the punches and to greet each punch with a smile. It's an adventure, and it's a beautiful adventure. And at the end of it, you get the most precious thing that you could possibly have, a literal gift from heaven. What more could you want? So that is my positive birth story. I hope I haven't left anything out. I may very well have done, because as you can imagine, I ain't sleeping so good. It's a really, really nice time. I'm just taking it nice and gentle. Trying to focus on recovery and not get ahead of myself. If there's anything else you'd like me to talk about, any questions that you have, please leave them in the comments, and please like and subscribe as well. It helps my channel out massively, and I'm sending you so much love. I will see you very shortly. Goodbye.
Burning past the seasons I faded, and what is it now? What is it now? Just I